but I just hope you trust me enough to know that I'm going to make the right decisions. So what are the things you like about seeing me and Usman together?
Guys, oh dear, it's the what the hell am I gonna say from Jamal. Jamal was busy reaching to the inner crevices of his mind to try and work out what he liked about his mum and Sojaboy. He opened his bag for more ideas and out flew a couple of moths. And no sooner was Jamal pieced out, packed and gone than Sojaboy unceremoniously pulled the rug from under Kim. Yes, that's right guys. Sojaboy and Kim have split up for what seems like the final time. And so that also means that the ridiculous storylines of multiple sister wives and the ridiculous narrative of Kim and Usman adopting little Mehdi is finally at an end. So guys, by a show of hands, who's surprised? Anybody? Anybody? I thought as much, neither am I. And so as you guys know, I've been waiting patiently for most of last season and all of this season for this ridiculous union to end. Mainly because it became more and more ridiculous. Now Kim, who usually has a predilection for humiliation, was dealt a particularly searing blow with Sojaboy. And I want to dig a little bit more and look over all the reasons why this outcome was quite obvious. Sometimes I really don't know what's running through Kim's mind. The wheels are spinning, but the hamster's dead. So before Jamal said peace out, he made it very clear that he thought the whole relationship was at best unworkable, but much more likely fuckery. So this couple have broken up, quelle surprise. I am NSHO. In my not so humble opinion, Sojaboy never liked Kim from the outset. This whole so-called relationship was all about money and clout. So whilst I didn't believe that this was any sort of a real relationship, I was never clear if 1, Sojaboy was just tricking Kim to get his green card, which I think was the most common theory, or if 2, both of these guys were in it together to scam the public and to scam TLC out of a couple of grand an episode. But it does seem, unfortunately, as if Kim was not in on this at all. Her feelings were real, and that to me renders Sojaboy's actions despicable. And so now that I've drawn the conclusion that Sojaboy was acting alone in this scam, this video is going to break down the 8 main reasons why I believe that to be the case. But guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my channel and who's hanging in there with the Ebird. But I'd like to invite those of you who've yet to subscribe to consider joining us. Just so you know, I'm here for a fun time and not necessarily an ethical time. But we do have fun over on this channel, so if you've yet to do so, please don't forget to smash that big red button. And also, if you enjoy it, please don't forget to let me know by pressing the like button. It does help with my algorithm. Thanks guys. And so without further ado, I present to you the 8 reasons that prove it was Sojaboy running the scam. And so guys, there were loads of red flags last season, such as Zara, etc. But I'm just going to concentrate for this video on this season. And things really did ramp up this season. I noticed all the time Sojaboy was trying to push the envelope. He was trying to break Kim's back. He was trying as hard as he could to push her right over the edge. So the first reason that I think this relationship was fake was their physical relationship, or should I say lack thereof. And as we all fondly remember, last season, Kim spent half the season literally chasing Sojaboy around the bedroom, Benny Hill style. Sojaboy was extremely reluctant to give Kim the yummy, but I assumed that once he'd taken the plunge, things were all going to be different this season, but they weren't at all. He was still very reluctant to sleep with her, offering different excuses here and there, and sometimes creating, I think, purposeful arguments to reduce the possibilities of intimacy. And just this week, whilst they were having their, penultimate argument, Kim actually shouted at him, "And we don't even have sex anymore." Guys, considering this is supposed to be the honeymoon period, it really didn't bode well. And so in at number 2, the second shady clue from Sojaboy is the fact that before Kim went over to Nigeria at the start of this season, she was talking on the phone to Sojaboy and she said, "I want to talk about the whole second wife scenario." And he said, "There's no need to worry about that now. Wait until you come over." What happened when she came over, I hear you ask? I'll tell you what happened. He decided to set her up. He sat down with Kim and one of his friends and started chatting absolute rubbish about wanting 10 children and working out how he could get these 10 children from 4 different wives. I instantaneously knew this was just to push Kim's buttons. It did. She dashed the milkshake over him, but he wanted her to say, right, no, that's it, we're over. Now he knew good and well he was pushing it with just 1 wife. And suddenly he lets fly that he wants 4 wives. And the more upset Kim became, the more Sojaboy was laughing. He appeared to be really enjoying himself. Also, Sojaboy I think is about 33 or 34. If he genuinely wanted to have a really large family, he would have started already. So it led me to the not unreasonable conclusion that this 10 kids and 4 wives narrative was all for the cameras. And so reason number 3 is very closely linked to the second reason, notwithstanding the fact that Usman has always wanted kids of his own. Suddenly, he was okay with just having 1 wife and adopting his nephew from his brother Mohammed. Now, the moment we all heard this storyline, we knew it was ridiculous. But on top of that, he tried to convince Kim, I'm doing this for you, so I don't have to have a second wife, instead of just telling the truth. It's coming towards the end of the season. I need to end this union ASAP, but I need to make you do it, so I don't look quite so bad. And reason number 4 is Sojaboy's general lack of care for Kim. Everybody knows that words have meanings, and considering he's a songwriter by trade, sorry guys, I had to get that in. Guys, he's virtually a poet. Considering he should be choosing his words carefully, he has an absolute knack for saying the very worst things to Kim. And one incident that really stood out to me was when they were having their daily argument, and he was trying to push her away with his extreme and outrageous demands. She was in fact refusing to topple. And so to tip her over the edge, he said, my DMs are full of absolutely beautiful women, and I'm here with you. And guys, when he did that, I was literally breathless. And Kim actually said, and good for her, she said, what, so you're saying I'm ugly? And obviously she ran off and she was in tears. But Sojaboy then casually had his meal and began eating and texting. No doubt texting some of those beautiful women in his DMs. But yes, he seems to have absolutely no care for Kim and rather seems to enjoy making her cry. And reason number 5 is that he seems to be happiest when Kim's leaving. So when Kim was returning to the States last time and things were all up in the air, because they didn't know what was happening with their relationship, Kim was crying her eyes out. But not Sojaboy. He literally couldn't care less. They'd just been given the news by the lawyer that Sojaboy couldn't take a second, third or fourth wife. They were in the car going to the airport and Kim burst into tears and she was really upset. Not only did Sojaboy pretty much ignore her, he looked completely nonplussed by everything. He didn't seem one bit upset, but more importantly, he couldn't even be bothered to fake it. As she was crying, Sojaboy was completely unmoved. And reason number 6 also concerns Kim's feelings, and this was when he went to meet his potential second wife, whilst Kim was actually there. So obviously his mum hadn't given them the blessing at that point, and she said, well, there's somebody, well, in fact, she said, it's your cousin, but who knows, because the next week he said, it's a family friend. But regardless, whoever it was, there was a meeting set up with Sojaboy and this girl with a view to marriage. Kim had literally 3 days left in Nigeria, and she actually requested that Sojaboy go and meet with this girl when she'd gone home. But Sojaboy declined, for he wanted to meet her right away. And in no time at all, he was suited and booted and off to see her, asking for good measure on his way out, how do I look? And so there was literally nothing stopping him waiting 2 or 3 days to go and meet her, except of course a desire to push Kim to her limit. Reason number 7 was his general lack of interest in Kim. So I've got a couple of examples. I think the first one was the fact that when Kim went to meet his mum and his brother to try and get the blessing, they had no idea she was in the army, which they ended up connecting over. They also had no idea that she had a son who was older, and she flexed out his graduation photograph for them and they were suitably surprised and they said, oh, he's one of us, he's black. If Sojaboy was really considering getting with Kim and actually marrying her, even if it was just for the green card, they would have known all of this information. That would all have been in his pre-sales pitch. It wasn't. Why? Because he had no plan of actually ever marrying her. And also I couldn't help noticing, even when the couple were together, he'd always want friends to be around or other people. And he was absolutely addicted to his phone. There's TikTokers out there who are on their phone less than Sojaboy was. He had a genuine disinterest in Kim in every meaningful way. And so we come to the final argument. And they were in the hotel room, and apparently it was quite messy and he was tidying up. And then, according to Kim, Sojaboy said the following. He said she was very messy. And then he criticised the way that she dressed and criticised the way she walked. And finally he said she needed a tummy tuck. So guys, let's pick this apart for just a second. Firstly, all of these horrible insults. And yes, they were horrible. I know I diss Kim's clothes, but that's all behind her back, not to her bloody face. But Sojaboy was super sneaky because he flung all these insults at Kim when the cameras weren't rolling. Obviously, we would get to know about it, but he knows it's way, way worse if you actually have video of him saying these insults. But to say to somebody, you don't like the way they walk, obviously at this age, she can't change the way that she walks. Also saying, you need a tummy tuck. She was a big girl when you met her, Sojaboy. And you said, according to her, that you liked bigger, curvier women. So there's no doubt in my mind, all of these awful insults were designed to make her run away, to make her take that ring off. And then, of course, he doubled down on what he'd said before, which is, I'm sacrificing way more than you are. There's no man from my region that would do what I'm doing, i.e., there's nobody I know that would go out with somebody like you, Kim. And obviously he knows that she's applying for and paying the K1 and that she's responsible for him for the next 10 years. Also that she's open to him having other wives. Also that she's open to the idea of adopting his nephew and basically her looking after the nephew full time. But still, in essence, what Sojaboy's trying to say is, you're so far beneath me that even notwithstanding all of these sacrifices you're making, my sacrifices are still far, far greater. And so, of course, the two argued. Kim took her ring off and she ran out. And then, like she always does, she ranted and raved and trotted back in. Oh, Kim, you're nothing if not predictable. She sat down and she said to Sojaboy, I don't want to end it with you, but sometimes you make me feel like I'm just not good enough. Sometimes, Kim, and the rest, and the rest. And she said, I don't want to be anyone's favour. Kim, I think you'll find you're out of favour. And Usman said, well, I don't want to drag this out. What? You've dragged it out for 2 bloody years. But anyway, I don't want to drag this out. You say that you sacrificed the most, and I feel the same way. And then Usman tells production that Kim always storms off and then comes back later and says sorry. Yeah, she does, but I don't actually think she's sorry. Usually when she storms off, you have done something wrong, Sojaboy. But she's so desperate to be with you, she just accepts whatever horseshit you're throwing at her. And Sojaboy continues, I want someone who can give me peace, and I don't think I'll ever have peace with Kimberly. Oh, Sojaboy, I think if you ask nicely, she'll give you a peace. She's been desperate to give you a peace this whole season. And then he described his relationship with Kim to producers as toxic. And I thought about this for a while. Obviously, it's a terrible relationship, but I don't think there's anything that Kim has really done that is toxic. Most of the toxicity has come really from you, Sojaboy. Admittedly, Kim is very resistant to learning, and she should have seen the signs, but you managed to outmaneuver her with a season-long stream of bullshit. But we end the season with Kim sobbing on her suitcase, and Sojaboy drives away. And guys, I've got to say, it's an absolutely classless move. She's come all the way to Nigeria. Okay, you've finished. What, you can't drive her to the airport? You are absolutely without class, Sojaboy. That's such a nasty move. I don't know about you guys, but this to me shone a spotlight on Sojaboy's gracelessness. And I do feel sorry for Kim, even though the writing was on the wall right from the word go. I've got a feeling that when the camera is off, Sojaboy says just enough to Kim to make her think, but the love is there. We get on so well, we have so much fun. I think he does just enough to reel her in, and then when the camera's on them, he drops bombs on her like, oh, I want 4 wives and 10 kids, or can you adopt my nephew? As far as I'm concerned, guys, it's all being game to Sojaboy. And I wouldn't mind if Kim was either in on it or semi-in on it. But I do have a feeling that her heart's been broken. I hope not. I hope it was just a money-making scam between the two of them. But something tells me, no, it wasn't. Guys, I would love to know what you think. Do you think the storyline was in any way real? I don't even believe that Sojaboy wants to live in America. I don't know why I think that, but I just don't. If he did, he could have gone in, off camera with someone like Zara, and he'd be there by now. And do you guys think that Kim was absolutely heartbroken? I think that she was. But should she have seen the signs, and should she have known what was coming? Possibly so. Let me know what you think in comments down below, and I'll get on with the next video. I'm going to try and wrap all of the stories that I've been covering this season up before the tell-all, which is, I think, maybe it's on Sunday, but that is Christmas Day, so maybe it will be the following Sunday, I'm not quite sure. But yes, I guess we'll see. Like I said earlier, please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. And guys, thank you so much for all of your support. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.